So what we have here is a winter wheat variety by Fertility Trial. And basically, before I get into the details of the site, I thought I'd maybe give a bit of a historical perspective of why we're interested in doing this type of work. And what we've seen in the past, we've seen a lot of new winter wheat varieties being developed over the last number of years, and these varieties have some tremendous yield potential. Under irrigation in southern Alberta, they're yielding in the 135 bushels per acre range. So that tells us that under dryland conditions, under normal moisture conditions, these varieties have the potential to yield in the 100 bushel per acre range. What we were seeing though with producers is that using their traditional winter wheat production practices, they were hitting a production wall at that 65 to 70 bushel per acre range. And what we're seeing is that some of the newer spring wheat varieties are yielding in the 80 to 85 bushel per acre range. And so that obviously discourages producers from looking at these new winter wheat varieties and saying, why would I grow these winter wheats when my spring wheat is yielding in that 80, 85 bushel per acre range? So we decided to take a look at the fertility of the winter wheat, and what we're finding is that a lot of growers are still using their traditional winter wheat fertility practices. And the historical practice for a lot of producers is putting on a level of phosphate with the seed at seeding, and then the balance of the nitrogen on in the spring once they're assured that the winter wheat crop has survived. And what we were seeing then is when they were doing that production type practice, they were just basically hitting that wall of yield in that 65 to 70 bushel per acre range. So initially when we started working with producers, we said, well, this is easy enough. We'll just bump the nitrogen rate up 2 pounds of N for every bushel of target yield. And we're there, right? We should be able to get that 100 bushels per acre range, but we weren't getting it. And so that's when we decided to partner with Western Ag and use their approach to a fertilizing winter wheat. And what Western Ag does is they use a more balanced fertility program where they look at the available nutrients in the soil versus the total volume of nutrients in the soil. Western Ag sampled the site and made a recommendation. In most cases, they're bumping the phosphate, they're bumping the potassium levels. There may have been an addition of sulfur as well. And the nitrogen was also split applied. We put half the nitrogen on in the fall at seeding and the other half on in the spring as soon as we could get on the field. What we're seeing from this, we've got 1 year's worth of data under our belts, and in working with producers and in working with the diversification centers, we're finding that balanced fertility approach is showing significantly improved yields. And last year with some of the producers we're working with, we grew 80 to 85 bushels of winter wheat on less than 3 inches of precipitation from May 1st to mid-July. So that's telling us that we're headed in the right direction, and we think we're really looking forward to this year's results and data, because in most of the sites, this site has been a little bit drier than the other sites we have at the other diversification centers. But with our producer demos as well, we've had lots of rainfall. Basically, rainfall hasn't been an issue this year. So we're hoping and we're thinking that we can certainly come close to that 100 bushel mark for this growing season.